Morning, everybody. Thanks for letting me stop in and say hello. Thanks for letting me brag a little bit about the college. As my friends, Dr. Shane Lane and Jen Sowers and I and others realize, we have so much to be proud of at the college, especially in the career and technical programs, including over in welding, main campus, east campus. Our facilities where we are today, Community Technology Center, is first top notch, and we have great faculty to match our excellent programs. The folks that I just talked about a minute ago and I were part of a group that worked with 3 other colleges on a grant application through the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity to establish a manufacturing academy in this region, and we feel pretty good about not only the likelihood of our getting funded, but we feel pretty good about the numbers that we included with our past history and some of the programs that are on track for the future. So, you know, our programs wouldn't be worth a darn if we didn't have great faculty and great advisory committees to provide that advice to us as to where we are, where we want to go. We've had a long, wonderful relationship with the Area Career Center, so we're happy that Dwayne is here this morning to back us up. And I couldn't be more proud of Charles Raimondi and his perspective and his enthusiasm, which he's brought to the college. And so everybody feels really good about where we are and where we're going with Charles leading the ship. So again, thank you to all of you for all that you've done to provide support to us over the years. All of our faculty very much appreciate your sage advice, and we're going to do everything we can to never let you down. So when you have a recommendation, please do not hesitate to bring it forward. You'll be impressed with how quickly we respond to the situation. I'll turn it back over to Charles.
Thank you very much. Sure. Very much. Dr. Lane, do you want to say anything?
I'm good. I'm excited.
I know that we have a lot of stuff on the plate here, and so, you know, to get things moving forward, I'm going to forego the introductions, okay? And then we're just going to, you know, try to knock out. We're going to get all this thing through by 11:30. So there is a lot that went on in the last since August, you know, before then, and we made some serious progress on the courses and the course materials. So, and a lot of this has to do with industry giving me feedback and listening to them. So, and I know I've been out to one company, and then there's been other people that have been coming through. Also, the students themselves too have been really hammering at me about certain things, hands-on, hands-on, hands-on. So that's what we're doing. We're seeing some good progress. We see a lot of good progress going on. So, let's make sure that this thing advances correctly. So first of all, before we actually begin, we do have a new department website that came up. If you want to see this, I'll send you all links to it. Erica Dean here has been instrumental in helping create this. So we've had this opportunity to actually tie it to the college website and to my department webpage and to our department webpage. So we got some new stuff going on. So as we continue to build this program, you're going to start seeing students, you're going to start seeing their projects, you're going to start seeing our high school, our middle school, high school STEM program for the summer being on there. Things like that are going to start emerging on there. What our goal is to get students the information, and this is one way to do it instead of trying to bounce around. We're also looking at social media and stuff too. All right, degree changes. The first thing we want to look at is we discussed the last meeting, the degree changes. So there was some talk about, do we split it up, do we not? And it came down to a 50-50 split on it. What we decided to do is run 2 new degrees and then the industrial maintenance degree. So if you look at your packets in here, you should be able to see the industrial degree. Those are online. Can you guys hear me online up there? I hope they can.
I can hear you good.
Okay. Do you guys got the information you need for the degrees, or do you need me to send that to you? Get a link.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Okay.
This is Rodney. I don't have that either.
Yeah, we'll get it to you. It's going to be in your chat. and then we're gonna do the, let's do the bottom one first. And then hit them all, when you get a chance. Go back to the next one. Hit them all. All right, while she's getting that going up there, we decided that the first thing we want to do is the industrial electricity degree, and we have industrial maintenance degree. So electronics, industrial electricity, and industrial maintenance. The industrial maintenance falls outside this department, that is Steve Gibson's area, and he has generously allowed me, along with Dr. Lane, to actually put the degree together. So let's talk about the electronics first. If you take a look at the electronics degree, fall, spring, and then fall, spring, everything that falls under 60 credits. So if you can, just go ahead and take a look at that. And let me know. That should be electronics, yes. So she does have it up on the PowerPoint. So the first year, basically what we did is, this is the only one that we've actually allowed the students to, we're encouraging the students to do the college algebra, because this is something we're going to be in the future looking at moving into on to a university. So getting collaboration with Western, Northern, those universities, so on other universities. So eventually the goal is to have the students in this program, electronics, to take the college algebra. But right now, we're allowing them to do both, to one or the other, excuse me. So, and then you got your gen eds. So total comes up to 60 credits on that. We have a lot of new names going on, but you notice that there's a lot of information we have pulled out of it. So, for example, no motor control, but we did leave the PLC in because this could actually tie to what we call in the future industrial automation degree too. So we're looking at that. So this course to align into that. Any questions on that? Everybody online get that stuff?
I did.
We did.
This is Rodney.
Thank you, Ron. Any questions, regards, any comments, suggestions? Okay. All right, the electricity degree. Again, 60 credits on this one. Electricity, actually, we did put in, this one was just falling under ELE stuff. There is one ELT course, 2207. There might be a second ELT course, and that would be the South State 1 course, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But basically, again, 60 credits. Everything we're going to talk about the certificates aligning to these degrees, so they can take the certificates, eventually get the degree. So again, everything will align to it. So the question probably is, what if one person decides to switch from electricity to electronics? Well, that's not a big deal. All we have to do is look at what they took, and then we can actually match it over to the electronics. So
they would still, even if that didn't work out, they would then have the opportunity to get the engineering technology degree. So if they were really out of sequence between the two, or they took a couple industrial maintenance classes, that sort of thing, they could get that degree.
any questions on the electricity degree? The goal is, yes, sir.
On your gen eds, are you specifically locking them into these, or what you have here are just suggestions?
Suggestion. And when I do it, I'll put on there, take a gen ed, and we'll have a list of the gen eds, or they could go to the council and they could say to the gen ed, the council says to the gen ed. So they, you know, our class, I do believe in our class is still a gen ed needed out there, if I remember right. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, there's gonna be, if you're wanting to do it to where they can pick, it's most likely, unless there's a specific class like for your math, like you pick for math, the rest of them you'll probably just say from the gen ed package.
Yeah, there'll be, the math is, it's gonna be stuck. But unless they decide to take college algebra, they can come to the council or come to me and say, or the instructor and say, I'm taking college algebra, do I can take technical math? Oh, technical math is right below the college algebra. So, you know, that's an option too. So, you know, if they're really passionate about math and they want to continue, you know, take the math, or maybe they want to have a history class they like to take. You know, those are all things. Those options are open on the table. One thing we don't want to do is give the student too much flexibility because then they get overwhelmed. Then the counselors are then we're dealing with counselors trying to get them to take some courses that hopefully match up with what they need. So. Any questions on that one? Industrial maintenance degree. Industrial maintenance. I know it should look like the other ones this was rushed, but this one, fall first, spring first semester, we'll get it set up with like the other ones, but basically what the industrial maintenance is focusing on is taking a little bit of electricity and taking a lot of electricity courses and some of the ELT courses and putting them in there, but the idea behind here is that the electricity is mainly for students who are going in to be an industrial electrician. That's the goal behind that. That's fine. The industrial maintenance is now focusing on beyond that scope. So they're getting into a little more of the mechatronics, they're getting into a little bit more of automation, getting into dealing with and repairing machinery, industrial robotic systems. So as we continue to move forward with these programs, this industrial maintenance, they'll be able to go into a company. This is similar to what I did at the other college, is I had 2 degrees and then we broke it off, and the industrial maintenance degree allowed them to get into the industrial, work on machinery, industrial machinery, automated systems, and such. So, Steve, do you have any concerns with that as we put it together? In the end, if there's something we need to change on that, I like to change it right here, right now, so we get this thing moving for the fall. Hopefully by fall. We can make it, we have a couple steps before we get to the point where we can put it in fall, but the goal is to get it to curriculum as soon as we can, the division and curriculum, and then we can get it out to state. Any questions on that? Any concerns? Okay. We're going to move on to the tech certificate. So you may have to. We're going to do electricity certificates first, then we'll do electronics. And then we also have the industrial automation. Okay, industrial maintenance. Can you go ahead and move forward? Electricity certificate. So the electricity the certificates is one of the goals for Dr. Lane, and also what I'm hearing from Dr. Anderson, is to get some certificates so students can start getting and stacking these things. So eventually they'd be like, hey, I want to go for the degree, it's so close to it, right? They have a path. They have an idea of what need to take and how to get to that point. So do they have to get both? No, they can take one, but we're encouraging them to continue to take these certificates to build on it. So the industrial electricity certificate, again, this is for those who are going into being electricians. At this point, some people ask me, could this student go into industrial maintenance with these certificates? And I say yes, but there would be some modifications a little bit, but they should be good enough to get there and be able to work on in a manufacturing facility around it. So basic industrial electricity. The difference between the electronics and electricity is the ELE 1200 and the ELT 1204. That is the difference. The AC/DC course is structured way different on electronics. They're going into electronics, they're going into some deep stuff. This over here, they're just getting the foundation. And then program logic controllers 1 and 2. It's not just using the amateur stations now. We're using the some of the older PLC compact logics, and they're learning to wire, sequence events, troubleshooting, etc. on this. So the HMIs, we're integrating the whole thing into it, and the goal is to build that up into like a little manufacturing facility. Also, for these degrees certificates, we do have the SMC trainer that is up and running. That's been sit idle. We are now making that is up and running. Some of these courses could easily be incorporated into there, for example, the troubleshooting. Any questions on the electricity test certificate? Any suggestions? Did you send that out to them? Yeah, hit them all on that. The electronics one, I'm gonna get caught up on that. Electronics one, the idea in electronics is for our students to get to be a tech basically. It's basically an electronics tech. So this is where we can actually start easily moving them into industrial maintenance, because a lot of times our equipment in industrial maintenance is electronic based, some of the newer stuff, and this gives us a little more flexibility. But the jobs that these students can get into are high tech. That's over here. They can actually start getting into some of the PLC wiring and the sensors. They can work for some of the, like Comcast and those people that need the service repairs, etc. That's the goal behind electronics tech. Also, the electronics tech allows us to move them into some of the universities too, where they have a technology program for them. And we're working with the universities on that. I've been in, was at the college, the biggest thing was students don't want the calculus, so they're doing the technology. So they're reworking some of the stuff over there at NIU, for example, so they can realign it with us. So it makes sense. You really don't need a calculus. You don't need a calculus course to have a technology bachelor's degree. Any questions on electronics certificate? Again, everything is stackable. I did have the industrial automation certificate. One more. There we go. Industrial automation. I did have this. I'm not sure if I did it or remember. I mean, yes. But again, this is the automation. I like to call it is our intro to our megatronics. But if you look at it, it's industrial wiring gets you everything you need. So if you're walking into a plant like say high tech, and you're going to be working on some of that machinery, you need to know what you're doing with this stuff. You have to learn how to work around some of this high tech machinery. A lot of this stuff is electronic circuit boards. There's other things that are ESD sensitive. It's a huge undertaking. So this industrial automation allows the student to feel comfortable so they can walk in and they can install machinery, they can repair machinery, they can keep it maintained. But they can also start setting it up. And eventually, if we ever do get like a robotic system in place here, they can learn how to program robots. So again, it's working around more of the high-tech industry. Troubleshooting some of them, some of the issues they have out there. Any questions on that? This one, solid state electronics, people, what is solid state 1? We'll talk about that, but we have a solid state 1 and solid state 2, but the solid state 1 is power supply. Every single machinery that you work on is going to have some sort of power supply to it that has electronics. You have to understand how a power supply works, whether it's basic to a switch, and we covered that here in this course. We don't have that offering in electricity. It can, if the student wishes to take it as an elective, but that's for the automation. Anybody online have any questions so far?
At the moment.
No.
Well, everybody get caught up and then we could just vote on the degree and the certificate. Okay. Anybody have any questions with the degrees or certificates at this point? Any changes, suggestions, comments? Both online and also face to face. For those who are online, just speak it out if you can. I'm looking for the degrees. All that are in favor of the change to the degrees, say aye.
Aye.
So anybody objecting to it? Then I'm going to say the degrees are good to go. Certificates, same thing. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any objecting? Takes care of those two.
So, this is Shane. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up, I know most of you are kind of electricity oriented in here, but Charles mentioned the industrial maintenance certificate. One of the things that we're looking to do, it's going to be beneficial for two groups. We're putting a short-term certificate together. We're calling it the Building Trades and Industrial Maintenance Certificate. A lot of the manufacturers have told us, and also the labor unions have told us that they wanted kind of a diverse skill set for some incoming employees. So the courses we put together, we had a couple reasons for the particular courses we chose. One of them is the great partnership we have with the Area Career Center. So we wanted to make sure that they would be able to get some credits while they're spending time at the Area Career Center, and then come here as well to get the skills that they need. So it's going to kind of align with some of the stuff Charles just talked about. I'll just kind of give you an overview of what courses are going to be in this. It's going to have an electrical wiring course. It's going to have the OSHA safety course, which we're going to only put the 10-hour portion of it. They do that down at the Area Career Center. They have the opportunity to do that. And then the way we're going to do it here, if you noticed in the paperwork, is we're going to have an 8-week, I think it's going to be a 16-week total. They're going to take the OSHA 10 in the first 8 weeks, and then they'll have an opportunity to take another credit hour in the second part of that semester so that they can get the OSHA 30. So in the industrial maintenance / building trade certificate, they only have to do the first part, but it will stack into the other certificates that we offer. We're going to put a Weld 1200 section because we want to make sure that the students have at least some welding skill sets, and obviously they would have the opportunity to continue on in that path if they needed to. We're going to put the rigging course in there. We're going to throw a pipe fitting course in there, and then we're going to put an inspection, measurement, quality control class in there to make sure that they know how to use micrometers and other measuring devices. And then the final class in that short-term certificate is going to be that technical math class, because it's used in pretty much all of our technical degrees. But it would also, if a student took any of the higher level maths, it would also work for that. So that one's 16 credit hours. And the idea with any of these certificates, as Charles mentioned earlier, they're going to stack into a degree of some sort. And as a manufacturer, if you have a certain set of courses that you really want your students to take, or your employees to take, we're putting together some fairly flexible certificates as well that are going to come into that engineering technology degree. And like Charles mentioned earlier, a lot of the schools, they don't want that, or if a student doesn't want to take the calculus type coursework, they can get into the technology side of it, and that's what we're doing here. But we're really flexible in that degree, and we're going to be very flexible in the certificates too, so that they can get the technical skill sets that you're asking for in your place of employment. So more on that to come. Thanks, Charles.
Thank you very much. Or just to let you know, we are offering it's already been approved as the safety. We have a 10-hour and a 20-hour, and Chad Sherman, I hope we got the last name correct. I don't know if he's online. Couldn't be here. He's supposed to be here, but We are offering the 10-hour 8-week and then the 20-hour 8-week. So the students, I'm encouraging students to take both of their electricity. Okay, industrial maintenance, I'm really encouraging both of them on that. For the industrial automation, I'd rather see them at least the 10-hour on it. But again, the more safety we have, the better it is. Just that why I came on that. Electronics, safety, I'm not too, I would recommend taking it, but right now there's not enough room in the degree for the safety, but they want to take it in life if they're affordable. All right, go ahead. Curriculum changes, we got a lot of curriculum changes. Motor controls, we're just gonna go through motor controls. Do the chat and get up the curriculum changes. May take some time for us to get some of this stuff up there, but motor controls class, the big talk about motors and controls was to combine motor controls 1 and 2. And it makes sense, it really does, because I researched in about 11 colleges that are in this general area, and they offer 1 motor control class. They average between 3 to 4 credit hours, and so I put ours at 4 credit hours. So the idea behind here was we can cover both material in 8 weeks and still get all the material out of it. So still going to cover similar topics and new stuff, such as single phase, 3-phase wiring, DC motors, some DC motors, VFDs will be in there. And this is, like I said, I looked at College DePage, I looked at Kishwaukee College, which I was at. I looked at SAW and a few others, and even when I was in Quad Cities area. So it made sense. So that was the reason for the motor controls being combined. I did combine some of the outcomes on it. I just pasted them together, but I'll clean them up as we go. But basically similar stuff. All I did was just group the course descriptions and the course and just cleaned it up, some of the verbiage on that. Anybody have any questions on the motor controls? So we will definitely need a new course number on that. So I'll work with Dr. Lang and the curriculum committee to make up the course number on that one. So any questions on that? Any concerns, suggestions?
I have a question on that one.
Yeah.
How do you feel, I'm fine with you combining them, but I have a question. Now that you mentioned the OSHA 10, OSHA 30, how do you feel about possibly making 2 8-week courses, leaving them 1 and 2 like that, but doing it 8-week, that way throughout the semester, they're getting both contents? Just a suggestion, we can do it however you want, and then make it 2 and 2. That way, if somebody, if somebody wants to jump in or can jump in at the motors 2, they don't have to take the first part. It's just a suggestion.
So if they're already motors 1.
Yeah. Or if they're in industry and they can take a test out, you might be able to look at something like that.
We can look at something like, how does everybody feel about that? Mine, what do you think? So basically, I'll just, if we are in agreement, I'll just make the minor tweak to it on this document, or it'll be students who did not have motors 1 and did not have the, let's say, the skill set, they'll have to take the full one. But if they already have, let's say, motors 1, or they can test out on it, then we'll allow them to do it.
And I think that'll help with the bottleneck that you have in the lab too, where then there's not motors 1 and motors 2 students in there at the same time.
Yes.
So we'll just have to make sure we only offer 1 in the beginning and then the other.
It'll be easy to switch over. Steve, how do you feel about that?
Are there any different certificates or degrees that only require motors 1?
No.
I don't know, maybe HVAC only did motors 1 or
Motors,
something.
HVAC, that's a good point. HVAC is a
That's
whole
what
lot of,
like you're saying.
They're not gonna take motors anymore.
They're not.
So when we go to curriculum, he's getting ready to do some adjustments. We're gonna take out, it's PLC that we took out. Ooh, you might be right.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the other guys are doing. I'm just saying, if there's something where they only need motors 1, maybe they'd like to take an HV class. This is what we need for that.
Yeah.
that'd be
You know, we don't
perfect,
need
right?
3-phase or VFDs or something, so we can just take the break down.
The person that I talked to before he retired out at another college, Elgin Community College, was a good faculty member of mine. He was putting his they had similar one, they only said that wanted more than one. He was an expert in the field, and he said, no, they needed both. And he fought for it, and, you know, he got his industry agreed with him on it. So yes, that's outside my department, but, yes, that's the reason for it. So everybody good to go with the change out like that? Orders 1, 8 weeks, orders 2. So basically, I guess, you know, what we do is I'll figure out how to do that orders 1. We'll have to do a new course number on it.
Yeah, and I think the Jennifers might like that as well too. 'Cause when they start putting things together, somebody might be able to pop in one at the other.
For training purposes, absolutely, yeah.
Fine. Eric, you got that down? Great, so, any other questions on that one? Industrial
It
wiring.
would have to be, we'll make it motors 1 and/or, that's the.
ELE 1206 industrial wiring prerequisites. This was consent of, it's supposed to be consent of the program coordinator / instructor coordinator, but basically just change out of the prerequisite, nothing else on that. We wanted to get students into this course for the, as a prerequisite change, that's all that was. So ELE 1206 was a prerequisite change. Any questions on that? Program important. We had students who needed to get into the course in the semester, and the current one was the current prerequisite ELE 1201. They don't need to have, for industrial wiring, they don't really need to have, and I even talked to some of my contacts in the industry, and they're like, if they're working on like just wiring, they'll need it for it to be an electrician, but not to do wiring. So they should have it already. That was the key to it. So, but we did have some students who wanted to take it, and we had to give them a prerequisite. Any questions on that one? Any concerns?
In my opinion, that one's a slam dunk because they take that one as full credit at the area career center, so.
Okay. Let's see, digital course, I'm gonna jump around here a little bit, I'll get to the digital one. Should be in there, if not, I can talk to you about that. Maybe not. Yeah, it is, there it is, ELE, yeah, so my ELT 122204, 5 credits, this was a credit hour change, 5 to 4, no need for a 5 on that one, too much time. And the possibility right now that even 4 is too much, but when I did the other course, Kish, and then looking at the other ones, they were 3 to 4, and yeah, credits, not 5, so we got cutting that one down, that's all it is. Nothing else, no other change, so I don't think there's any other change. It basically gives you an idea what they're covering. The digital portion of it also will allow them to, for the ELT students, to learn about SMD soldering and service mount. And we do have a prototype and design class. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, we do soldering in that, correct? So in that class, they will be doing both SMT and service mount. And yes, students need to know how to do service mount these days, because a lot of times a fuse on a board needs to be changed out, and they're not just plugged in fuses, they're soldering fuses, and they're SMD type. Any questions on that one? Nobody else? Nobody else? All right, ELT 1200, electronic solid state systems 1. This one, ELT 1200. Basically, this is getting cleaned up. Instead, we definitely need more time on this. Credits go from 2.5 to 4. And also, the renaming of it is electronic solid state systems 1, power supplies and electronic sensors. This is where the students learn ELT, and some of the ELE students maybe want to do it, or the people that automation certificates. Basically, they're learning about the power supply system. Basically, the basic power supply, so you're getting into the different types of power supplies, halfway, full wave power supplies, switching power supplies, and then they're also getting into some of the sensors, Hall effect sensors and things like that. So they have an understanding, a little more in-depth understanding of it. So, so this is for the electronics. Any questions on that? There's a lot to this, I know. So that ELT 1200, basically, is, you know, we start talking, there's a book that actually gets into it, really solid, good, and for that course. And I feel that the students that took the course when I was at Kish, they were the industrial maintenance guys. They were like, hey, this wouldn't really work. All the industrial equipment deals with power supplies these days. A lot of times when they're talking to an engineer that's trying to troubleshoot something, they need to know what they're looking at on that. And it's happened numerous times when I was at Kish out. Okay, ELT 1200. Let's see what else. Course description. ELE 1200. I do believe ELE 1200, Basic Industrial Electricity 1. Correct. This is just course description, change, cleanup, verbiage. Basically, it removes the AC on it because you're already covering on ELE 1201 the AC. So basically, you're removing, you're breaking it up DC and AC. That's what ELE 1200 is. Any questions on that? Any concerns? We did that one already. It's a double. ELT 2205, prototype design and fabrication. This is a course name and description changing a little bit here on that. ELT 2205 is basically it starts reading about microprocessors and just making sure I'm correct on that. Hold on for a second. Let me get back to that one. Let me get to that one. It's been a while since I put all these together, so. Oh, it's just a course description change. That's all it is. There's nothing else. That's all it is. I cleaned up the course description. So basically, it's Steve, that's the same thing you're doing, just clean up the verbiage on it. Do you have any questions on that? Okay. ELT 1203, Industrial Instrumentation. I had no choice but to increase this from 2.5 to 3 because of the degree. That was the only recommended credit hours 3. Plus, 2.5 does not allow much time with projects, so giving them an extra half credit to it increases it. That's the only reason for that. No other changes. So this was this is ELT 1203. Any questions on that? ELT 2254, Electrical Capstone. Electrical Capstone need to be changed because it deals with microprocessors. So basically introduction to microprocessors. I'll be working with Dr. Lane to come up with a capstone class later on, but eventually we just put in a capstone class for them in the future. So basically it's anybody from ELE to ELT will be able to take this capstone class, and that's something I got to work with Dr. Lane on. But this one, you look at it, that's what we're running right now, and we're running it as a project base. We kind of skewed the course description, but it's based on microprocessors. So it's 3 credit hours, 2 hours lecture, 2 hours lab, microprocessor systems. This one I'm probably going to get some hits on it, so please let me know what you think on this one. It's Steve, please let me know on this one too. Any questions? Concerns? Dr. Lane? Anybody online? Questions, concerns? The other alternative to this one, believe it or not, was just to completely do the course description change on it. And I decided to go the easy route. To do the course name change. But yes, we will come up with so if the students are having a hard time finding an internship out there, we'll find a way to take the course in here. I think we can come up with what we call light courses, or their project-based courses here, and it can be arranged for 1 to 3 credit hours they take. So we have that.
So where would the source of the project come from?
Basically, those projects would be throughout the department. We have some trainers, so if they didn't get on from lab trainers, we can get them onto that and start working on those projects. We have wiring in the classrooms that need to be done too. You know, we have little projects that go throughout, but they can also start digging deeper into, let's say, the SMC trainer that we have, that huge trainer. If there's a book that's this thick, and I can stick them on that for 16 weeks, and take another 16 weeks. So there's we got a lot of equipment over there that have not been used, but the point is not just to use it, but to get them to practice on it. So they take a lot of these entry-level courses, right? So lab trainers go more in depth into that. The SMC trainer really goes in depth. But the SMC trainer is manufacturing. It's literally a manufacturing trainer. And the nice thing about that is we can sit and put in for the 8 stations, 7 stations that are on there, faults, and they have to troubleshoot the fault down to what exactly went wrong. And that takes some time. It's not just, okay, you know, you're looking at something and something's not working, you have to tell them. There's a whole procedure on figuring out and explain to why. Yeah, we got a lot of equipment over there. We got a lot of trainers and stuff that we want to start using. I mean, it really will be helpful for our students. And then the other projects we have too. I mean, we have staff lights that sitting around. We need to get those installed. I'll have my students this semester start installing those. So proper use of tools. I'm going to be monitoring what they're doing. Wiring diagrams. You install something and it's a light stack. You have to tell me what wires are going where. So, because the students in there are going to be using that. There's a lot of other stuff there. So, last one, ELT 1202, linear circuits analysis. This one is from my opinion, I always struggled when I was teaching this course. We did 3, and this one was only 2. This was 3.5, and I pushed it up to 4 just to even it up. But 4 is good because this gets into the large scale and small scale amplification. Amplification deals with, when we deal with small scale, sensors. So a lot of times your sensors, your pressure sensors and stuff, deal with amplification to understand that. So little op amps and stuff like that. And the large scale amplification is mostly with the Wi-Fi systems on that. So that was the last one. That's ELT 1202. So it's just a new course name would have to get on there. Not name, new course number. Or we keep the same number and just change things out. So I'll be working with it. Did I hit everything? All right. So I like just to make sure that we get a vote on this. Of course, changes. We'll give you about a minute just to ask questions, feedback, suggestions for improvement, or anything, and then if we're all in agreement, we just vote on it and see what happens. So. Do you have any other questions in front of me? Jennifer? Roscoe? Steve? names. Tony? Any-
No, I'm fine.
Good to go?
Yeah.
Online, how we doing? Okay.
Looks good.
Good.
Questions?
I think it looks good, Charles.
All right, thank you.
You've done it. I think this is the right approach. You're right on with.
All right, can we just get a quick vote, just one by stage here? All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody objecting to it? I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna say it's all passed. And I did it in less than an hour. How's that? How's that? All right, I'm just gonna go through some other little things while we have a chance, since it's up there. This is just the beginning. We have a lot of interesting pieces of equipment over there that we can use. And the goal is to start and for our students to get them. So when they get out of here and they go to a company, they're at the foundation. The company should not have to send them back here or question what they want. That's not gonna happen on my watch. So they leave here, they're ready to go. They know how to wire, they know how to do things, they know how to use the proper tools, they know how to be safe. That's the biggest thing. Going through that. Hold upside on that one. Room changes in organization. We are going to be building a central center wall in the wiring lab. Now happened this summer. I do believe Dr. Lane and I have been working on that with maintenance, and if they don't do it, we will have our students do it. Remember those projects? That'll be one of them. The idea behind here is they'll have boards going across too for lighting, so we're going to get lighting in there and everything. So, but we use them, we be able to utilize that room. So that's tables come out, and we're going to get that cleaned up. We have some new equipment that came in, a lot of new equipment, new power supplies, some new oscilloscopes. So soldering irons. Stuff we had was okay, but the irons that we had, for example, were only good for tuning wire. You need an adjustable soldering iron so you can actually work with the proper board. You don't want to melt the board. And students are building professional boards. I do have a company that I use, and I create my own things, and they put these things together. And they have to tell me it has to be done professionally. It's not done, they redo it. So they're learning how to use a professional board. And I know these projects work because I test them. That's what these folks are for. So some new soldering irons, power supplies. Get those power supplies pretty good and cheap. Our function generators, we need some new ones because you have to tap on them once in a while for it to adjust right. That's okay, it works. Just give it a little love tap. So go next slide. Our STEM program, that's Lena over there. She's a high school student. No, she's not ditching school. She's homeschooled. Consider home. Am I correct? Close to it? Yeah. She still does Zoom. Do you do Zoom? Google Meets, yeah. So there it is. So she comes here on Mondays and Wednesdays to work on various projects. If you're interested in some of the projects she's doing, she's built up the power PLC station with an HMI. Maybe partially down, but she's done that. So our STEM program is meant to get high school students, even middle school students, involved and engaged in these programs. And that's a goal. So during the summer, once we get COVID under control, we're going to bring it back in. We're still going to have the car contest and all that. That's the fun stuff. So go ahead. All right, feedback and questions. You know, I got food back here too. Sorry, folks online. Can't give you, I get you virtual food, but got some food. Please eat some food here. Any questions about the direction this program is going? Any concerns? I want to thank Revere Electric and Jennifer and a few and Lisa. All of us have been helping me get these programs moving forward. Ideas that don't, and Revere has been been great, because I'm an home run guy, I'm an Asian guy, who deals with PLCs, and they, I could work with it, but they got me up and running on it. Thank you very much, sir. And they've been helping us build our PLC side up, and we're not done. We're not even at the half point for PLC. So our goal is to integrate as much, work with Steve, his ideas, and everything is a team effort. We've got some great adjuncts. Speaking of adjuncts, I need adjuncts. So if anybody knows anybody who, we did put a notice out, and anybody wants to teach, please come and speak to me. You can choose how many classes you want, when you want to teach. Maybe I'm looking for nights, maybe some day stuff. I'll be happy if I can find it. Any questions? I think that's it. We will schedule up the next meeting. If we need another one in April because of curriculum changes or anything like that, I will send a notice out. But right now, our next meeting will probably be in, Dr. Lane, correct me if I'm wrong, it'll be probably sometime, I'm thinking October. When do you think? October timeframe, people? Or do you think we move it up to, like, I hate to do September, because September is such early, but we could do September. October seems to be a better month, right in the middle of this fall. Good. I think that's it for me, and I appreciate everyone coming out. Please feel free to eat some food, drink some coffee, talk, mingle, whatever. Thank you very much for everything. If you need anything from me, I'll be here. Everything have my business card? Yep. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.